We've actually done this. We've set ourselves up in the past many times with, like, if one of us is going on a date, the other will try and maybe get something going, because
gotta get some too.
It's nice to feel that equality, and not that anyone needs it to be like equal or fair in the mind all the time around that stuff, but it's just been helpful and fun for us to do. For sure.
So to be specific, last night we each had a date for lack of a better word. I mean, we each...
I like calling it that because we like
fun.
Very rarely use that term, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and we actually did set it up in advance, which is also something that's not very common in our lives.
Right.
We tend to like let the days unfold, but sometimes when you want to work out logistics, and we had some things to work out, logistically speaking, then you need to set up a date. So we each had a date last night with different people, and we each got to experience our dates in the same space, which was, I think, part of the really cool thing about how we finagled it all. We specifically did, Connor was like, hey, well, I could have this space from 5 to 8, and then you could have this space from 8 to 11 p.m. And there are multiple reasons why this worked so well.
Yeah, one of them is that we've recently kind of discovered that, and I think it's something that we've known, but we actually were able to talk about it, that I really like finding myself and my comfort and my relaxation and my connection with a feel-good place with other people or around other people while receiving maybe just, whether it's touch or whether it's just friendship or something like that, just feeling like I have connection there. Really helps me ground. It really helps me center.
Yeah, and I do love that. And I also notice that I tend towards wanting to have self-time to sync up with myself, and then from there I love to connect with other people.
And I love doing it that way too. It's just like, you know, we notice that we have these preferences that are a little bit different from each other. So it worked out really well, and it made sense for me to have this date first and feel like by the time my date had finished and I was moving on to another space, I felt like, yeah, I'm really in my body, I'm really like happy to be alive, and I was really excited to hang out with just me. And I think for you it sounded like...
Yeah, meanwhile, I got to have this self-time, I got to connect in nature, and then at this sweet little coffee shop, I had the best time during my self-time, and then I got to have my date afterwards when I felt really connected to myself and could flow into connecting with this other human.
And by the time we came back together, we were both just like, so excited to see each other.
And it was cool because one little thing came up, which is that we have two vehicles right now. We have our RV and we have Connor's truck.
Our truck.
We have our
Puffy.
Puffy. And so I went to take Puffy so Connor could have the RV at night in case if he got tired and wanted to rest and all that stuff. But then as I was coming back, I got this message from Connor that the RV wouldn't start, which has never happened before.
Never happened. And it was turned out it's just perspiration on the wires and whatever, but it's one of those things you can't just open up the hood and like get into and still feel like you had the space, you know, that was just yours.
Yeah. And so I got this message, I'm almost home, and we're just like, well, you can take the truck.
Right.
And it worked out perfectly, except I noticed like, oh, well, I'm just kind of like nervous about seeing you right now because there was this nice flow we had, and we set it up intentionally where we weren't going to see each other between our dates, and it was so sweet because I knew that I could just share that and it would be received, and Connor's like, that's okay, just leave the keys in Puffy. And so I left the keys and like tore this like heart out of paper really quickly so he'd know like that I loved him.
And she came in one way and I came around the other way, and it just like, it made so much sense for us to do it that way. And I was feeling the same way, like, yeah. I wanted to have this transition time between like the human I had just connected with and connecting back with myself. That felt important to me, especially because that's what I had already envisioned. Yeah.
That's what we had set up.
And then it was really cool actually because on the way out, I was bringing the trash out, and Brittany had just like, it sounded like maybe just gotten into the house or was just about to. So I didn't see Britt, but then on the way out, I saw her date.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And he and I are like homies, so it was totally cool. But also, it could have been like, all of this stuff could have been more uncomfortable or uncomfortable, just period. And I just felt so freaking good about all of it. And I got to see him for a second, and like we joked with each other a little bit, and you know, I just told him I loved him and like have a great time, and I'll like see him when I see him, and that felt so good for me.
I love how interconnected all of our relationships are, and I love that nothing feels off limits or weird, or it's just all so open and so love-based.
And what we just walked away with was like, we love both of these people. Like, they're both so lovely and in different ways, and just like so much gratitude that I got time with the person that I did, and was really excited for you to have time with the person you did, and really excited to come back together and hang out.